another thing. Yeah, I know. It's not different. Things. I think I know what's going on. So this and this. Yes. Oh, that will work. Oh, okay. Yes. Yep. I think we're on. And let me just push this again. See, go back. Yes. Uh, Testing. Yes. Okay. Now mute this one. Test. Okay. Now go back to 3.7. Okay. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Welcome back with me, Chris E. from Sydney, Australia, Sales Master from Atomy, Australia, from Network 12S. It's been a while. Yeah, but I have apologies for the delay. Unfortunately, I have technical difficulties again in preparing the video. Will I keep forgetting to change the formats because now I'm actually only live in YouTube, so I will change the logo I have there. So it will be only YouTube live doing podcast, and then maybe I will be streaming also on Twitch as a new place to actually do things and see how it goes. But yeah, let's see. Anyway, this tonight I will be continuing the discussion of my program, The Entrepreneur's Roadmap. Now, in the past, we have discussed the 4 milestones so far, of which the first milestone is fundamentals, and then the second one is strategy, and the third one is teams, and system is the fourth one. Just to give you a bit overview quickly, the fundamentals is where I talk about like building a business. You have a foundation for you to build a skyscraper. The tallest the building, the deeper the foundation has to go. And the same thing with business. The bigger the business is, the deeper your foundation that you need to have in your business. Because if the foundation is shallow, when there are obstacles, the business will not be able to actually sustain itself. So we're not only talking about cash flow, we're not only talking about finding customer, but all these different things that we have to see. And I'm glad that we have shared that. If you really wanted to know about the foundation, then you can go back to to my past few videos, right? Just look at it. I'll put the link below of when is actually which the link to that video of the when I discuss about the foundation level, because I talk about the mindset in there also before going forward in more details of what components of the foundation of business is. Now, as yeah, and the next one is strategy. Strategy is obvious. Every business should have strategy. So in a holistic view of business, sales and marketing is not the only one, but sales and marketing is one of the important strategy that you need to have, of which is part of your growth strategy, your branding strategy, and things like that. Okay. And then the third one is teams, business teams. What forms part of your business teams. Now we're talking about network marketing in the practical, in this context. Although my program, the Entrepreneur's Roadmap, can be applied in any businesses, I focus on my channel on how I built my business, applying the principle, applying the framework, milestone that I teach to my VIP client relating to the Entrepreneur's Roadmap. So this is really the Entrepreneur's Roadmap for network marketing professionals. The framework is the same no matter what, and this is just to prove again, over and over again, that the framework is is the same for every business. And this is what we need to realize and understand. So you need to find in your on the third milestone, who is your team, what comprises of your team. Every MLM company is different, but in my company, where we only build two groups, and I can only put two people right underneath my name. If I don't have that spot anymore, does it mean I stop? And how do I find more people? How do I look for the leaders in my business? And what can I do and prepare myself in building a teams, in raising up myself as a good leader? That's actually in the business team, in that milestone. And the number four milestone is actually business system. And where in business system, we discuss about things that we need to have in operating the business. Because if we don't have details on system, on how we operate, yes, many network marketing have their own SOP, support system, but sometimes, or if I can say, most of the times, it's more than just the system provided by the network marketing company. With the company I'm in, they provided a lot of good support system. They provided a lot of the education system. They provided with a lot of the accounting background, accounting system in regards to the calculation of the commission, sales, and things like that. But it's not necessarily the whole system when you're actually doing it as a business owner, doing the network marketing business of your certain company. So you need to still have separate system outside your network marketing company that have provided, for example, accounting system to actually record the bookkeeping of how you deal with business, on how you actually come up with your cash flow, whether it's actually through an Excel spreadsheet, a written down manual. For example, you need to have your CRM system also, where you can then track who's actually your customer. Although in every network marketing company, you may have some sort of CRM, especially for those members who are actually under your lineage. But sometimes we need more than just what recorded in the system. Sometimes we have customers that are not recorded. So how do you keep track for that? So that's part of the system. Now, after all that, from milestone number 1 until milestone number 4, I split my program, the term, into 2 stages of framework. And the first stage is milestone number 1 until milestone number 4, of which, if we do that properly, then we create ourselves a business plan for our business, a business plan for how we actually going to actually build our network marketing. Now, once we've done all that, that's just the writing down. the operation, the strategizing, or if I can say, although it's productive, it's not resulting in money coming in your bank account right now. Although as much as I want to say that you have to have this ready, but most of the time when people get into a network marketing business, milestone number 1 to number 4 have to happen along the way when you're actually building up, while you're actually in training. So I have to be honest and say, it can be daunting, it can be overwhelming. But I can assure you, if you do this properly, if you do it, if you follow this, if you follow the framework, it will pays off for you. Now, coming up after first stage, this is the second stage, of which framework milestone number 5 until milestone number 8, of which this is more practical for us to do. In milestone number 5, I will be discussing tonight what I call a business implementation. So this is the implementation of what we have come written down for our business. And so you will note that the past 4 business milestones are about business planning, as I said to you. And this milestone is about implementation of those plans. In hindsight, if you know what to do and how to do it, you probably have an implementation plan panned out by this time. It's common sense, right? It's like if you know where you want to go and you have planned, okay, I'm going to go by car, I'm going to go by this, I'm going to take this. If you routed your way on how to go to a certain destination of your holiday, then all you need to do is just do that plan. Implementation is just taking action of those plans, right? So that's the common sense. So here we go. This is where we go into more detail of our action plan. Remember when we do the strategy milestone number 2, we have created ourselves an action plan. But this is where we have then take those chunk by chunk of the action plans, the most important action plan right now, and put it into more details into the action. Here are the 5 things you need to have in your implementation strategy. So the first one is action plan follow through, or what I call APFT. This is where we list it down in a step by step of what needs to be done. The second one is person in charge. This is where we name the person who will be responsible for the APFT. Because if we don't put the names, we tend as human to procrastinate. Now, I'm not saying by putting the name, you will not do that. But by putting the name in, we are getting out of our comfort zone. We are forcing our brain to see that this is something that we need to do. The third one, resources. This is where we list all resources needed to accomplish the APFT and whether we have the resources or not. Because sometimes we make plans without really thinking that we have the resources or not, without really seeing we have the resources or not. And when I talk about resources, it's not necessarily about the money. Although most of the time it comes down to money also. So I'm not reducing that in resources, majority comes down to money or capital. So if we don't have the resources, does it then have to end that way? No. Then we need to actually see things and find ways of what things to be done. And find ways of whether we can find a way to actually have the resources needed. It's not about, as Tony Robbins says, I suddenly just remember, as Tony Robbins says, it's not about having the resources or being resource, having a full resource, but it's about resourcefulness. And as a note, this can be created as a separate APFT for each and different action plan. And the fourth one is financial budget. Now, although the resources can be about capital, and number three and number four, the financial budget and resources can relate to each other, but putting in the resources technically is just listing down what type of resource that we need. So we can put capital, we can put, and then what humans resources and things like that. So the financial budget is where we get into sort of outside the, taking out the capital resources and put it in a separate form. And this is worth mentioning because for every resources, whether it's actually outside the capital, okay, there will be values that you can actually put. For example, if we need an online subscription for meeting online, presentation online, then you will need subscription for Zoom, for example, or Google Meet. Thus, the subscription has value and it converted back into the capital resources. So this is where we list down all necessary costs to accomplish the APFT. And the last one for this implementation is we need to have what I call a peak performance system. This is where we write down our estimation of when the APFT will be accomplished and list down at least one KPI specific for this APFT. So this is at least the 5 things that you need to have in your implementation. And on top of this, there are 2 things you need to implement straight away. And this is the practicality of the implementation. You need to create this from the beginning. This habit has to implement straight away. In my experience so far, this is the best advice that I can give to all my clients. And the first one is what I call the triple X rules. This is where you open a minimum of 3 separate bank accounts on top of your main trading account. So it's a total of 4 accounts. So your trading account and then this extra. So what are these sub account? This sub account is usually an account that are high interest earning accounts, of which you should be able to actually withdraw the funds as needed. You should only be able to actually withdraw it into your main account. And you should name these three accounts as follows. One is emergency funds. You should aim to achieve 6 months of your fixed expenses from your break-even point analysis and create an automatic direct deposit to this account based on 10% of your average estimated daily expenses. In the early stage, you can combine the reserve funds into this account, of which I'll explain it later to you. The second one is capital or investment funds. This is where you're putting a set amount of your income as a funds for investing back into the business. Whether you use it straight away or not, you can always invest it in many different things. Whether you use it, the money, to invest straight away into the business or not, then it's up to you. But you need to at least have these funds. And having these funds is one of the best way to actually growing, because this is where your growth capital comes in. Your growth capital resources will be coming in. So this is where we talk about the APFT for growing, for futures. Of course, maybe in the first years you may not have this, and you may have to wait for certain different APFT regarding implementation of growth strategy into action. Maybe you set aside a different phase for your growth strategy, of which the first phase is APFT that uses no capital, only your time. So in these funds, you should create an automatic direct deposit to this account. Start with $1 if you are just starting out. I'm not saying that you have to put in $1, but at least $1. It means in a year you will have $365 in a year. I'm not saying that's the right amount, so you have to decide for yourself. Now, the third one of this minimum 3 separate bank account is the tax and super funds. This should be the estimation of how much tax you will have to pay for your income tax, wages tax, and your super. Depending on your country, wherever you are, you have to think about this. And if a certain country you don't have this, then you can put this, the third account, as the additional 2 accounts that I'm going to say, mention it later. So on this, I always recommend that you put away 10%, but you can always start with any percentage or any amount if you are just starting out. At least you keep it. At least you save the money. That's the idea. Now, the following accounts are optional and based on your needs. Now, the fourth one is the reserve fund. Now, the purpose of these funds is to cover unexpected bills in the current month. Starting limit is 50% of your average monthly expenses, and divide that into 60 days and make that as the automatic direct deposits until you have reached the target, and allocate the payment the extra payment from then on to the emergency funds to help make it faster to reach the goal and even further. And the fifth one is GST funds. This should be only applicable if you are registered for GST in Australia or in any other country such as VAT in UK or sales tax in US and PPN in Indonesia, for example, like that. All these kind of things you need to actually set it aside because technically those are not your money. The problem with a lot of businesses, they forgot about this. When they are registered for GST, they forgot that the GST component of the money received from client is not their money. So again, with this, the figure might change from country to country. But if you are registered, I highly recommend that you have these funds, this account set up. Now, the second thing that you need to implement straight away is the creation of your written policies and procedures. You should start writing down your policies and procedures for every task you have in your business. The more detailed you can be, the easier it will be when you start growing and recruiting. Policies are rules, principles, and guidelines an organization's management adopt to reach its long-term goals. So this is taken from businessdirectory.com website. They shape all important decisions and activities. Procedures are the steps members or business partners or employees conduct in day-to-day operation to ensure that what they do reflects and supports existing policies. So when it is faithfully followed, a well-written policies and procedures promote efficiencies, effectiveness, and consistency while upholding the organization's philosophy or visions. So that's what this milestone is all about. And I guess, although I said to everyone on the book that you can start from any chapter of this, from any milestone of this, but if you're just starting out, I recommend you follow stage 1. Follow the milestone 1 until milestone 4 before you go to before you go to the stage 2, which is the milestone 6 until 8. Because milestone 6 is very important. And milestone 5 is very important. So milestone 5 until 8. So if you're starting if you have done, stage 1, which is milestone 1 till 4, and you're starting, if you're starting the entrepreneur's roadmap straight into the stage 2, I really recommend that you look into in order of the milestone 5 to 8, because the next each milestone is most likely dependent on the previous milestone, except for the milestone number 8. That's why I think in in this stage, only milestone number 8 that can be done out in order. So I'm just saying that this can be done out in order, but I'll come to that later on, right? in the next in the next few weeks when I discuss more detail. So hopefully you learned something today, and yeah, I it is my pleasure to actually share this with you guys. This is the program that I have taught to my clients, to my VIP clients, and I hope that you can learn. I have I want to close this session by sharing the testimonial from one of my VIP clients that have done the program. And the implementation, I really like, I really admire on the consistency of this client implementing the the stage one of the entrepreneur's roadmap. The implementation at the end of the day becomes the crucial part of the business. Sometimes we kind of forget the stage one, but without stage one, stage two will never start it. Or if it started, it will not last long, because there will be there will be things that you have to fix all the time. So I hope you learned so much from tonight's lesson. I use again, I use this platform to actually share my journey in building my network marketing business. I share my experience of what I have learned in building up my accounting practice, in consulting my clients, and I share my journey in building up my network marketing business. And I believe it can be applied in any type of businesses. It doesn't mean that you have to be in my network marketing business. If you're looking ways to actually grow your business, if you're looking ways to improve your business, your network marketing practice, have a look, watch the video. And if you want a hands-on practice, if you need a hands-on mentoring, give me a shout. Give me a, send me a message or leave a comment down below in the videos. So at the end of the day, at the end of this session, if you like what you have learned, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any more future lessons that I have for you. I have so many things that I have planned out for these next few months left, right? We're already in November. And in 2 weeks' time, I will be going to Indonesia and we'll be doing the podcast there. So let's see how it goes. So yeah, hopefully you've been blessed, and as always, live life to the fullest and expect success and God's favor all the time. My name is Chris E, Sales Master of Atomy Australia from Network 12S, Sydney, Australia. Thank you. Bye bye.